For the first time in a very, very long time, I am looking at the price action for Solana and saying this does not look good. This is a daily chart on Solana. Now, to give you some idea of what this video is going to contain, obviously, let's look at October and the fantastic run up y'all have seen from 20 to 21, all the way to a top of 127. Even where we're sitting right now at 90, roughly, that's what, a 4.5 times increase since October. Consider yourself, if you are in Solana and positive, to be a very fortunate and good trader with that trade, because you have found a project that is doing absolutely phenomenally and has put many other coins to shame in this rise from October to December. Some coins are not like Solana. They did not go up 4 and 5 and 6 times. Doge, for example, from its lows in October, 0.05 did not even double. It's experiencing the same pullback that is challenging Solana, and it is a 60% increase right now from its lows in October, and it may have further to go. ADA went up 2.5 times. It's now doubled, which, look, when nobody's complaining about a coin doubling in 3 months, that has gone up and is, after the pullback, is about double. No one's complaining about doubling unless you look at you guys that are holding Solana, right? And then we're looking at you guys and saying, good grief, even after this pullback, you're still more than 4 times better than you were in this October run up. So everything is still long-term looking fantastic for Solana. Consider yourself, congratulations are in order for you if you're holding Solana. You are doing very, very well. But for the first time, like I say, in a long time, I can look at the daily chart for Solana and see some weakness. I'm not only seeing it across Solana, I'm seeing it across many of the coins as well. Look at this downtrend that has happened and has started back in December. You see a high here, a low here, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, and then kind of trying to decide which way we're going to go. And we're still trying to decide. There's no definite indication yet that we're going to fall, but it looks more and more likely that in the short term, Solana is going to be giving up some levels here. And let's see, again, Solana is not the only one. ADA has its own problems. VET has its own problems. Avalanche, another really strong coin, has its own problems. And those problems have been caused by Bitcoin just giving up some of its gains since the ETF was approved back here around 49,000 was the high we experienced. Bitcoin had been in this upward rising channel for about a month since the early part of December. And over the last few days, I had noticed and had talked, and others have talked about, how it was challenging the bottom of this upward rising channel it had been in. And the supposition was it was going to do one of two things: either go up to 40,000, 45,000, and then bounce to 40, or might just fall out the bottom and hit 40. Most people were calling, most people that admit that crypto can go down was calling for us to hit 40,000 in Bitcoin before we hit the upward channels of 45, 46, and 47, just because we'd had such a fantastic run up since October that we needed to give something back in the crypto market to reset and rebase for hopefully higher highs later this year in 2024. And that's really what has happened. We didn't hit 40,000 to the T, where the low yesterday on my chart was around 40,250. But this move is not over, and it's quite probable we still do a little bouncing around here, but that's still quite probable we're going to get below 40,000 and perhaps enter this range between 38 and 40 here over the next few days/weeks. All that movement is causing pressure across all of crypto, and Solana, for one of the very few times in the last 2 months, does not seem immune to a pull down. You can see this upward rising channel that Solana has been in since, good grief, really since October. I could extend this all the way to October. Okay, it's been in this channel since October. When it started its magnificent rise up, it actually broke out of the top of that channel here, but has re-entered that channel and has kind of been ranging there most of January. And as long as it stayed in this channel, there was the possibility that it wouldn't do that, I don't think, but that it could continue to bounce upward, okay? And maybe even go up and revisit those highs again. And as strong as Solana had been, I was not going to bet against it. But even Solana has to give up some of its gains eventually to correct, retrace, rebase, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like that's what we're experiencing now. The same pattern we're seeing across all of the coins, we're seeing across Solana, which gives more importance to that pattern because that's more of a crypto-wide move that we're seeing. And we're seeing it across many of the coins that I've already shared. It's my opinion, now we could still bounce out, but it's my opinion that we're going to end up hitting this 87. And I do think over the next few days / weeks, we're going to revisit this area right here. I do think Bitcoin is not done falling. I think it is going to eventually fall below 40,000. And when that does, Solana should follow. Should. Now, it couldn't. It doesn't have to, but it should. I just feel like there's so much downward pressure being seen that these are the next steps, and that it's actually going to fall out of the bottom of this channel for the first time since October. Now, of course, there's no fear for you that is holding Solana. Like I said, you're still 4.5 times what the low was in October. Some of these other coins that are, like I said, are giving up their gains already. Even Doge is struggling. It may actually go into the level above where it was in October and start exposing where we were in October, which would just be terrible if you're holding Doge. That would be no fun to experience. You guys from Solana, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. You're just fine. Even falling down to here would be constructive price action. But I think if we still see pressure on Bitcoin down to the 40,000, that's what we're going to find. What would invalidate my theory? Well, you see how Solana broke out of this top of this downtrend and closed and then immediately went right back into it, okay? So what would invalidate this theory is something like Solana moving out of the top of this downtrend, right? And closing and rebasing there. That is staying out of the downtrend for a few days. It popped out here, but was immediately rejected. It's got to go out and stay above that downtrend for at least a few days to give us a chance of rebasing and going higher. If we go here into this level, right, and the downtrend continues and the line looks something, I extend this line something like that, right? And over the next few days, we get into this level and start bouncing around. Well, then you've got two things that have to happen. You got to break out of the downtrend, and then you have to get above this level of resistance that turned from support. Right now it's support because we're above the price. It's holding the price up. But if it falls through the price, it will become resistance and keep the price down. It will have to break through that level of resistance and close above somewhere around this 90 again and stay there for a bit before it can break higher. Same thing with Bitcoin. Do not be fooled by this. You may see this over the next few days, few weeks, maybe even this weekend. Bitcoin moves fast. Don't be fooled by that. For Bitcoin to invalidate or break this downward trend it's been in, 45,000 is the key. It's got to get above this level, stay above this level. Can't have that spike up and then right back in. That's not helpful. Well, it's not terrible, but it's, that would just mean that there's sellers here, a bunch of sellers that immediately push the price down. And that could happen a few times, right? That's what support and resistance is. It's the sellers, the wall of sellers or buyers at that level. So you might see it do that. But my point is, for Bitcoin to go higher in the long term, we've got to see some closes above 45,000. Don't be fooled if this happens over the next week. It might not. We may just continue on down lower, or we may just range. But I'm just pointing out, we're not out of this downtrend until Bitcoin gets not comfortably, but consistently above 45,000. And we're still in the downtrend for Solana. Don't be fooled by it bouncing around. It's got to get above this downtrend and stay above it, and it cannot fall. It's got to close above this level right here, right? It's got to close above this to rebase to go higher. Until it does that, there's downward pressure. You can see the downward pressure. Until the downward pressure is broken, we have to just assume the downward pressure is going to continue. Look, we're in a channel. Lower lows, lower highs. There's no way of denying that. We can see it with our own two eyes now. If I take this away, let me take this away to just stop the confusion. We've got a downward channel, much like Avalanche is in. That reminds me of Avalanche. See that? Avalanche is in a similar channel. Doge is in a similar channel, like that. So like I said, it's not unique to Solana, but we are in a channel that has been started forming back in December. And as long as that holds, and as long as there's that downward pressure, we have to assume the price is going to continue in that channel. And we could be revisiting this area here soon. Long term, you're fine. Long term, don't panic. Be patient. Long term, Solana is a fantastic project to be involved in. You're doing well. Let's just keep an eye on the price over the next few days. Y'all take care out there. Be careful with your trading. I'll talk to you in a bit.